All right, today we're putting on our detective hats and heading onto a factory floor. We're here to solve a classic mystery, finding that one single weak link that's slowing the whole operation down.
So how do you actually do it? I mean, think about it. Every system, whether it's building cars or writing software, has some kind of constraint, right? A bottleneck. But just guessing where it is, that's a terrible strategy. You need cold, hard data, and that's exactly what we're going to use today. To solve this mystery, we need the right tool for the job. And in the world of manufacturing, the absolute gold standard is something called OEE. That's Overall Equipment Effectiveness. The best way to think about it is like a universal health score for any machine. It's the clue that's going to help us crack this case.
And here's why it's so powerful. OEE takes all the chaos you'd see on a factory floor. You know, the random stops, machines running slow, parts that have to be thrown out, and it boils all of that down to one single, easy-to-understand percentage. 100% is perfect, which, let's be real, almost never happens. But it tells you exactly how much room for improvement you've really got. Okay, so how does this magic number actually work? Well, OEE is basically the product of three really simple questions. First, availability. Was the machine even running when it was supposed to be? Second, performance. When it was running, was it going as fast as it's designed to go? And third, quality. Of all the parts it made, how many were actually good enough to sell? It's that simple. And the lowest score among these three, well, that's where we start digging.
All right, tool in hand, let's go to the scene of the crime. We're looking at a production line for hydraulic cylinder rods. It's a multi-step process, and we've gone ahead and measured the OEE for each of the key steps. One of these is our bottleneck, our number one suspect.
And boom, the data's in. This chart just lays it all out for us, doesn't it? I mean, look at this. Post-grinding is humming along at almost 98%. That's world-class. The cutoff step? Also super strong at 95%. But, yeah, one of these things is definitely not like the others. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
And there you have it. That's our culprit. The CNC lathe, sitting at a pretty awful 74% OEE. That single machine is like an anchor, dragging the entire production line down with it. But just knowing who the culprit is isn't enough. Now we need to know why.
So we've identified our weak link. The big question now is, what's its problem? Why is this one machine failing so badly? It's time to dig one level deeper into the data. And whoa, there's our smoking gun. Every single shift, this machine is losing a whopping 90 minutes of planned production time. Let's put that in perspective. That's an hour and a half. It's basically taking an unscheduled, extra-long lunch break every single day. That's a full 20% of its runtime just gone.
So where did that hour and a half go? Well, the data tells us that too. And look at this. It's split perfectly down the middle. 45 minutes are being eaten up by surprise breakdowns. The machine just stops. And the other 45 minutes? Wasted during setups and adjustments when they're switching from one job to the next.
Okay, so now we know the who and the why. Now for the how. How do we fix it? And the beauty of this approach is that we don't have to boil the ocean. We can launch a super targeted two-part attack plan aimed squarely at those two problems.
So here's the plan. For that 45 minutes of setup waste, we're going to use a lean manufacturing technique called SMED. And for that other 45 minutes of breakdown time, we're going to bring in a process called TPM. Two problems, two targeted solutions. Let's break them down.
First up, SMED. That stands for Single Minute Exchange of Die. Now, don't get hung up on the single minute part. The goal isn't literally 60 seconds. The big idea is to make those changeovers between jobs crazy fast. And the secret sauce? It's all about doing as much of the prep work as you can while the machine is still running. And this is the absolute core concept of SMED. It splits all the setup work into two buckets. You've got internal setup, that's all the stuff you can only do when the machine is stopped, but then there's external setup, everything you can get ready while the old job is still running. So instead of stopping the machine and then looking for tools, you get all the tools ready to go beforehand. You convert downtime into uptime. All right, so that tackles the setup time. Now what about those 45 minutes of breakdowns? For that, we turn to TPM, or Total Productive Maintenance. And this one is a big deal. It's not just a new checklist, it's a completely different mindset. It's about shifting from a we fix it when it breaks culture to a let's make sure it never breaks culture. So how do you do that? Well, a huge part of it is empowering the people who know the machines best, the operators. You train them to do the simple, daily stuff themselves, Cleaning, quick inspections, lubrication. They become the first line of defense, catching tiny issues before they become catastrophic failures. Then you back that up with a smart, planned maintenance schedule where you replace parts based on real data, not just waiting for them to bring the whole line to a screeching halt.
Okay, so we've got our two-part plan, SMED and TPM. We attack the setup times, we attack the breakdowns. The big question is, so what? What's the actual payoff? What does this all mean for our problem child, the CNC lathe?
So let's just quickly remember where we started. A 74% OEE. That was our baseline, the anchor holding the entire factory back.
And now, look at the projected result. We're looking at a jump to over 80%. And you got to understand, that's not just a little 6-point bump for one machine. Because we fixed the bottleneck, that improvement ripples through the entire system. The whole factory just got faster. That is a huge win.
And really, that's the whole point of this exercise. It's so tempting to fall into the trap of trying to improve everything just a little bit, A 1% gain here or 1% gain there. But what this shows us is that that's not the smart way to do it. The real magic happens when you focus all your energy on your single biggest constraint. You find your bottleneck, you fix it, and you unlock the potential of the entire system.
And this idea goes way beyond a factory floor, right? You can apply it to your projects, your team's workflow, even your own daily routine. There's always a bottleneck somewhere. So the question I'll leave you with is, what's yours? And how are you going to find it? Thanks for watching.